I think that the situations and circumstances that govern a lot of childhood, at least my childhood rearing, I think ultimately are very, very important and weigh very heavily on some of the decisions that I've made as we map out the course of my life. Really interestingly enough, I've had a recent meeting with my brother. I have a biological brother that is, though we were separated, while we were very young. I just met up with him recently. And mind you, after years of being separated, we go through this whole thing. It's funny how you can be in you can get in this bodybuilding thing and go through we were separated in foster care, really quick story. We were separated in foster care, we get to this place, I become this professional bodybuilder on my life path, and then, through that and being successful with that, I get an opportunity to have a publishing contract. A publishing contract in the magazine allows me to have a little bit of a column, and as I'm reaching out and, promoting my responsibilities contractually, I also end up dealing with a lot of people. One of the people that wrote in happened to have been, behold, long-lost brother. Amazing, amazing experience. Long story short, though, I meet up with him recently, and now, behold, this is a grown adult man. One time, the little boy that I used to remember seeing, barely, 3 feet tall, defenseless and big-eyed, and just, pretty much a little baby, is now this grown adult man that's like 6'4", it's like at least, I don't know, somewhere just under 300 pounds, doesn't work out, believes himself to be very physically uncoordinated, nerd. And, even though he went through a whole bunch of challenges personally, he's now, he's in medical school on his road to becoming a doctor. I'm in awe of this because, we're talking about a baby, a young guy that was really in a state of crisis, and there's a lot of guilt that I feel like I carried around then and still carry around today. Just, I had to, almost come to terms with just recently. We got this holiday season and Thanksgiving and, this new opportunity to sit down with long-lost brother, and he found his way to go to college, he went to the military, all this interesting stuff. But to answer your question, some of the hardships, that he experienced as a young man, that we experienced as little kids, he's been able to go ahead and turn his life into what is very easily a monument of just the will to make a success and recognizing that he can create it. Even if everything else says that, dude, you can't read, you're going to be a negative statistic, you're going to have learning disabilities, you're going to, just emotional problems that allow you not to be able to relate very well. You're going to have to find he found different ways to learn. And now is doing very well in med school. Just amazing. So long story short, if I wasn't a bodybuilder, if I didn't find this path, I think the sky's the limit. I just really wouldn't want to, because I'm looking at a guy that, had a lot less too. And we have nothing in comparison to some of those people that are really dealing with really crisis, traumatic childhoods. You think about some of these people that are, living in these war-torn countries and are dealing with atrocities that are just unfathomable, and, somehow through the expression of their ability, the expression of what it is to be able to decide and to do, forget what theory says and what logic says sometimes and what the naysayers will say, just because you're able to decide and follow through. It's amazing. So yeah, I don't know what else I would be, but looking at my biological brother's situation, I'm more inclined to think that, the limitations, you're only as limited as you will allow yourself to be. So who knows?